Hello there and welcome. This is Pro Wrestling Inside and Out, and we're talking the history of wrestling in Georgia. This is part one, even though you may have, if you're watching this live, you may have actually seen two and three already. But we went down and redone this one because the audio was so bad, and that one, half of it, you couldn't even hear what we were saying. So here we are, the history of Atlanta, part one, the history of Georgia, part one. I want to share something with you real quick. In 1887, pro wrestling was being held at the Concordian Hall in Atlanta, Georgia. That's a long time ago to be able to find information on that. I couldn't really find a lot of matches on it, but I did find that they had professional wrestling there. And I'm going to share this. Let me see if I can hit this and share this little video of a guy that went down there. It's called Hotel Roll now. And he went down there and he videotaped just little portions of the actual Concordian Hall. Now that it's a motel, and we can talk over it when we look at it. But well, I thought we'd be able to talk over that, but we wasn't able to talk over that, and evidently we won't be able to on any of the video clips. So I'll have to put them on later on. But that is the Concordian Hall. There was motels in there, and I'm not for sure there's actual motel in there right now. But 1887, and that building still stands today in Atlanta.
Wow.
There were more of this video. It, it doesn't seem like a place that you want to go and spend a long period of time. It did not look. The whole area looked a little run down, but it was very very interesting place. Uh, Something else we figured out in 1904, we found matches that were held at the Lowe's Grand Theater in Atlanta, Georgia, and in 1978, a fire destroyed that theater. But I'm gathering, I would throw some pictures up here, but I did not know I wouldn't be able to talk over them. But the building, they had to do this on the stage because it was built. It was just a theater, and it was on the stage. So I'm pretty sure we've done shows on stages before. Pretty sure you couldn't actually see if you were sitting on the first couple of levels. But they said that in the story that I saw that they were selling this place out, and it was like 3,200 seats in this Lowe's, and it burnt down in 1978, and we all know uh, in 1918 the Atlanta City Auditorium. I think we've all talked about that. But in 1905, wrestling was held at something called the Atlanta Athletic Club. Couldn't find any photos of it, but they ran that till 1911. But I did see that they only drew like 200 people almost every show. But people like Joe Stetcher, Frank Gotch, they were all coming there. Just not great. Uh,
Could
not
could
huge.
that have been a turn of the century bad neighborhood?
Could have been. Could have been. Maybe might have been. All right,
And
Jack.
it did say athletic club, so there might have been a membership that you had to do to go there.
There's a possibility. All right, Jack. We'll pick up in 1926.
In 1926, pro wrestling will become a huge attraction in Atlanta at the City Auditorium with 6,000 people attending on April 13th, 1926 to witness this card. Pete Dallas defeated Bill Lewis. Taro Mayaki defeated John Paxos by 2 falls. And the World Heavyweight title match was Joe Stetcher defending against Stanislaus Zabisco. Then on May 19th, 1926, another 6,000 fans watched the following card. Pete Sauer, defeated E.A. Oaks. Dick Draviscourt defeated Nick Velkoff, and the World Heavyweight title match was Joe Stetcher defeating Jim Londos.
By this time, wrestling is really getting big time. And in 1930, they go to Spiller Field a lot in the summertime. And they ran there a lot, as well as the auditorium, but they would go to the Spiller Field, which I believe held like 15,000 people. And they would pack these places. And Rodney, I think we got a couple of the cards from there.
Yeah, Spiller Field in Atlanta, Georgia, September 1st, 1930, is Bill Bartusch defeating Milo Steinborn, the German strongman, by disqualification, 2 out of 3 falls. Paul Jones of Texas defeated Tom Marvin, the Indian grappler, 2 falls to none. And then on September the 15th, 1930, Atlanta, Georgia, Bill Bartusch of Chicago defeated Charlie Fox of Cleveland. I wonder if that's Tennessee. World Heavyweight.
There's Cleveland, Ohio.
In a while. World Heavyweight Championship is Jim Londos defeats Paul Jones in that match. September the 24th, 1930, Atlanta City Auditorium, 2 out of 3 falls. Dick Schicott defeated Joe Kamar, the giant light. What in the world is that? Have no idea what kind of word. But they listed Schicott as the former world heavyweight champion.
And we're going to jump to 1934. A lot of wrestling happened between those times. We're going to jump to 1934, and Jack's got a couple of them.
December 11th, 1934, which was a Wednesday night in Atlanta, Dutch Green of Washington defeated John Dameron of Atlanta. Paul Jones of Houston, Texas defeated Sol Seigel of New York, and that match ended in a draw. Orville Brown of Kansas City defeated George Hills of Wisconsin. And then on to the December the 18th of 1934 in Atlanta again, George Romanoff of Leningrad defeated Pat Brown of Chicago. Dorv Roche of Scranton, Pennsylvania defeated Chief Chiwaki of Oklahoma. And the World Heavyweight Championship was on the line when Jim Londos from New York was the champion, defeated and retained against Orville Brown of Kansas.
Even then, they understood booking. Orville Brown on December 11th wins his match against George Hills, and then he gets the title match on December 18th in Atlanta against Jim Londos, which was drawing tremendous houses at this time, even though we didn't have a number there. Jack Bloomfield and Count Rossi. And everybody's, well, what does this mean? This was the first recorded cage match in pro wrestling history, occurred on June 25th, 1937 in Atlanta, Georgia. And rather than the steel cages of today, the ring was wrapped in chicken wire in order to keep challenger Jack Bloomfield's opponent, Count Petro Rossi, from escaping the ring. The results is unknown. The following week, Rossi wasn't on the card. So evidently, he was the one that went down. Coming soon, we see Paul Jones on a lot of these matches. So coming soon, Paul Jones moves to Atlanta, Georgia, and becomes one of the most important promoters in Georgia wrestling history. Rodney?
Andrew Lutzy was the son of Russian immigrants who pursued wrestling at local YMCA. At the time, Nebraska was the hub of amateur wrestling, and he was able to learn under locker room hookers, Farmer Burns and Clarence Eklund, alongside with Pete Sauer, the future Ray Steele, and other hungry wrestling young grapplers. Lutzy relocated to Texas and took the name Paul Jones, which he kept for the remainder of his time in professional wrestling. Jones met many of the top talent in 1920 1930s, including Joe Stetcher, Jim Browning, Dick Schicott, Lou Plummer, Jim Londos, and his old friend Ray Steele. Although he might not be the most notable wrestler of the time period, Paul Jones made some connections that would set him up for success as a promoter, not unlike Joe. I don't know that name.
I think that would be Malco Wiz, wouldn't it?
Malco Wiz, okay. And Carl Sapopoulos, Cowboy Luttrell, and Leroy McGurk, who were all wrestlers turned promoters. In 1933, Jones was involved in a fatal car wreck that impacted his career.
Jack?
Fellow wrestler Katsoneros and Jones were driving from Nashville, Tennessee to New Orleans, Louisiana for a wrestling show. His passenger was fellow wrestler Paul Jones. Katsoneros fell asleep at the wheel while driving in Eutaw, Alabama. His car flipped over in the crash, killing him and seriously injuring Jones, who did survive, of course, the incident. George was just 40 years old at the time of his death. Although Jones wrestled for many more years, he was never at the same level. He settled in Houston, working some for Morris Siegel as a referee and did some wrestling, but he set his sights on bigger avenues. Shortly before the end of World War II, Jones headed to Atlanta to begin promoting. Pro wrestling was on the cusp of a boom, and Jones needed to do little more than put the cards together.
And very successful. Probably, I would venture to say, the most successful wrestling promoter in Atlanta, Georgia. And we'll be telling you more about Paul Jones and his history of professional wrestling coming up as we move toward Georgia Championship Wrestling. Jim Barnett, Ray Gunkel, Ann Gunkel. We'll talk about her as well. And that's coming up on other videos right here about Georgia Championship Wrestling. All right, Jack, Rodney, what's going on in the world of professional wrestling? Because I have no clue. I have been nothing but busy watching Fear of Walking Dead. So I'm not for sure.
Well, that's basically, if you're watching that, that's same as watching the wrestling shows, because that's the Walking Dead as well. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, WWE had their Saudi Arabia show Saturday afternoon, which I didn't get to see all of it, but the matches I saw were very good by today's standards. Point that out. But it was well put together, especially the storyline and the main event. Of course, involved the Roman Reigns, the Bloodline, and it was really, really good storytelling, and that's the kind of storytelling that keeps me wanting to come back. Not necessarily to see the whole show, but at least see where that's going. AEW also ran Sunday night their pay-per-view. I can't remember the name that they called it because it's irrelevant. But anyway, I have not read any good reviews of this pay-per-view. Even our friend Evan Ginsberg, who is a real fan of AEW and some of the things they do, he was very vocal about how disappointed he was, and how this was put together. And I think he made the statement of in 15 matches, you think you get one. But
well, that would mean,
yeah.
Could it mean that some of the other matches soured the crowd before they got to the others? Maybe they were improved.
I don't know. They just a lot of people complaining about guys missing punches, missing moves. They were all over Jeff Hardy because on the finish, he was supposed to do whatever that is he does off the top rope, and he slipped and fell off, which, that could have happened anytime. But, he wasn't drunk. He wasn't high. AEW tested him. I think they do it before every show now, from my understanding.
Now, is that the same test that Tony Khan takes?
I don't think Tony takes one, or there wouldn't be tests.
Oh, just asking.
AEW's ratings are kind of tanky now. I think it's like 820,000 people watching the Dynamite show now. It's they just couldn't get past that 1 million mark, could they?
No, and I'm interested to see how this new Saturday Night Collision show is going to do. News comes out that CM Punk's going to headline this and that particular show, and then they're saying that he's not. They're just, them and their ownership there at Discovery. They're, I don't think any of them's on the same sheet of music yet. But if they don't have Punk on the Saturday night show, it's going to be a horrible draw.
Yeah, I don't foresee it. What's the time frame? What from 8 to 10 or something?
I believe so, and because it is supposed to be a 2-hour show, and they might fare okay until WWE has a pay-per-view that night, and they're sticking to Saturdays right now. Although they did do a NXT pay-per-view opposite AEW Sunday night, but Triple H said that wasn't something that they planned on doing, that was just the way that it's scheduled.
I know Nick Khan was the guy that came up with the Saturday, I believe. I believe he was the one that wanted to move it to a Saturday. So, Rodney, anything going on in your in the world of professional wrestling that you watched or seen or maybe read?
Cody lost. It was a great moment and all. And then he comes out and then he wants more. On Raw last night, he comes out and he wants more. And you would think that he would have had enough, but apparently not. But yeah, he's that's what I saw. In fact, that was one of the alerts I got, that he actually passed out in the armbar of Brock Lesnar. I think they're doing the right thing there. They're not pushing him down our throats. My understanding is he's going to be taking some time off now. And I think that's good because he won't be overexposed. It seems like that time that he took off before was very helpful, and probably won't be back to SummerSlam, I would assume. Also, I think we were reading somewhere that somebody was asking Roman if Roman Reigns lost his title. He did not. They just did not win he and Solo did not win the tag team championships at the last pay-per-view, but he is still, and of course that's what they're doing, the countdown, I think, to the 1,000 days he's held the Universal title.
Well, he passed it Saturday, I believe, was his 1,000th day.
Hey, did Medusa say she was the champion for 1,000 days?
I believe so.
For the women's World Heavyweight Championship, wasn't she? The only reason she held it for 1,000 days was nobody to wrestle. That was
and she said that a while back at an interview I read. I thought it was pretty funny. She said, "Yeah, it's easy to hold on to a championship when you only have 3 other women in the company."
It's true. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. The other thing I saw is that possibly for WrestleMania 40, they want to do a Hulk Hogan retirement match with Hulk Hogan versus Shane McMahon. I did see that, and I'm hopefully he will be. We'll see how that works out.
I have seen some recent pictures of him, and he does look really, really good. Now, I don't know that his back's going to hold up to doing anything.
Well, all I figured he needs to do is, if he can get his leg up far enough to hit him in the face, and then do the leg drop, I think everybody be happy.
I don't think Hulk Hogan can pick his leg up no more.
I don't think he actually said the worst move he ever thought about doing was that leg drop, because that is what screwed up his back so bad.
At the time, that was a pretty good move for him.
He should have stuck with the golden squeeze.
You could cover that. I mean, you make that a tag match and have him just come in for that last hot tag. Boom, 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 and everybody, and get that big foot as he's tagging in whoever his partner is, and let the partner do the leg drop.
That's right.
There's so many ways, but he's got to be protected heavily.
Yeah, because I watched a video of him. Some kid was on there as the new young wrestlers and stuff called shooting that promo. A little kid was shooting the promo on it, and he was Hogan was there, and it seemed like he had a hard time even standing there. So I can't see them putting him. And we know what happened to Shane McMahon last time he got in there. He hurt himself within 2 minutes. So something that I noticed on AEW is they brought in whatever the girl's name is that was working Japan. What was her name? I don't know even her new name now. Whatever.
Oh, Mercedes Moné.
Yes.
The artist formerly known as Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks. Yes, that was her.
So they are, and she supposedly got an ankle injury. But supposedly she's going to be in the Forbidden Door thing coming up, and I know everyone's excited for that. No, you're not excited for that.
Well,
And then Naomi's over at Impact now.
Yeah.
So 22 people are seeing her on there.
Well, the same amount of people that was interested in watching her on WWE is now watching her
now
there.
let's be fair, they draw around 70,000 a week.
Well, that's not too bad.
Well, that's before she got there, so now it's
I don't know, for a nationally televised company, I don't know.
70,020, so that's pretty good.
All right, let's go see what everybody's got to say.
Hey, before we go, one big incident happened in professional wrestling this week. I believe it was in Atlanta, where a fan beat up two of the wrestlers, a male and a female. Apparently, this young man that was dressed as Spider-Man and was a hefty boy was also special needs, and but was somehow got the idea he was supposed to do this. But it shows a big flaw in how business was conducted years ago as opposed to how it is today, because neither one of those folks could take care of that guy. They just had to get beat up by, because they weren't good enough to fight back. Now, we all know what every promoter back in the day would be doing when you walk back in that door. You would be getting a pink slip and probably a butt kick in there too, because they didn't put up with that. If you were not legitimate, if you couldn't hold your own and go in a bar or whatever, then you didn't belong on the card. You didn't belong in the business. And, now it's got a lot of sensitive little Nancy's all upset about it, but there's a lot of guys coming out and saying, hey, if y'all can't take care of it, things like that, then you don't need to be here.
It's funny that you talk about that, because this weekend I talked to somebody and we were talking about Kevin Nash. Talked about, I met him when he was Vinny Vegas, and that I had an incident and the Junkyard Dog came in while he was doing all this. And somebody said, well, Kevin Nash could take the Junkyard Dog. I said, no. And they asked me, why do you believe that? I said, because the Junkyard Dog, when he was trained to be a wrestler, he was trained like it was a shoot.
Yep.
So everything he learned as a shoot. Kevin Nash came along when they were just basically, I don't even know that Kevin Nash could really take care of a wrestling fan. Because he was never trained to do that. Eddie Gilbert, for instance. We all like Eddie Gilbert, but he was not trained like Tommy Gilbert was.
No.
Eddie Gilbert would not have been able to handle himself like Tommy Gilbert would have been. Doug Gilbert couldn't have handled himself like Tommy Gilbert could have, because Tommy Gilbert was brought up in that time where he was beat up. Ken Wayne could have not done what Buddy Wayne could have done, because Buddy Wayne was trained in a shoot style wrestling, and where they trained you like it was a shoot. Every wrestler today is not an athlete. They're just an entertainer. They cannot beat anyone. There's a couple of people, Kurt Angle, and he could probably beat anybody he came in contact with. Brock Lesnar, no doubt, could beat anybody because he's a legitimate athlete.
So let me clarify something here. So you're not saying that if Cody Rhodes, the reincarnation of Dusty, let's just be honest, you're saying that if he had the same instance, what we just heard about, that he would have been able to defend himself. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
No, he would never been able to defend.
Are you trying to? No, I cannot believe this, Brent. He beat 22 people on TV. You're saying that he can't beat that one man?
No.
It sounds like this stuff might be a little phony.
Dick Murdoch. Dick Murdoch could have handled himself.
You don't think that Cody could grab the microphone and try to talk the boy down a little bit before?
He's went through the acting class, so possibly he could.
Well, I can tell you, I've seen his acting, and when you're on Arrow and they don't even give you any lines anymore because the ones you got you couldn't even get right. I mean, all he had to do is say, "We will see." That's all he had to say, and he had to do it first as William Shatner. And they're saying, "Hey, Cody, we don't want you doing this, William Shatner. Just say, we will see." That's all you're going to have to do. And then he wants to stretch it out, trying to get more time. Okay. And finally, they just had to voice dub it from behind.
Well, he was trying to get more video.
I made all of that up, but he didn't have any. Honestly, he had no lines on Arrow, none. They wouldn't let him talk. And I guess they probably thought that they might need to put a translator up there for him to be able to speak, because they almost have to do that on WWE.
Hey, Bob, the thing that happened on AEW, they have some kind of reality show now, right?
Some kind of reality show, yeah.
After the Dynamite show, maybe?
Yes.
And it went from 829,000 to like 270,000. They lost huge amount of people for it.
And now they're talking about moving it to HBO or Max or whatever it is.
I saw a picture of Tony Khan, and he looked like that he might be getting ready to do some Geico commercials. You might be even a caveman will be able to save 15%.
I understand.
Because I mean, he was in dire need of a haircut.
I think the Land of the Lost is going to do a new show that's going to be a part of that.
He's going to play Shaka.
Shaka. All right, here we go. Richard Hood said, "Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to you, Kevin Pentley." Kevin Pentley is with us, and he says, "Nice to see you this evening." Dennis Cook is with us. He said, "Good evening, gentlemen. It's been a while since I tuned in, but having some health issues for several years. Well, Dennis, we hope you are doing well, and we wish you well, and be with us another 30 years. What's causing all this?" From Mako.
It's Rodney.
Donnie Hester, hello everyone. Mako, happy to see you shaved and cut your hair. Good evening, guys. Been a while. Kurt is with us. Glad to be tuning in. Rick Brooks is with us as well. Charles Alford is with us. He asked me a question this week. He said, would you turn Belair? Would you turn her heel? And I said, no, I don't think I would turn her heel. I don't watch the show enough, but I think they turn people way too much in the WWE.
Well,
I turn her.
I think they went to the right direction. Now, Asuka defeated her for the title this past week, so I think that they're trying to do a rebuilding. Honestly, she's probably been pushed down people's throats, so she's probably going to be gone for a while.
And probably would get rid of the hair. I'd probably get rid of that. I would make a deal where they use that in so many different ways, and that way she just cuts it off.
I think some hedge clippers, and you could just go and.
Oh, that would be some great heat.
I would do it in a minute.
Cut that thing off and let's that's because it makes her look. But I will tell you this: she gets the green stuff blue in her face, and I did see that. I said, and she sold it like it was a joke. She didn't sell it like it was hurting it. The way she did it just came over, as Rodney said just moments ago. I'm not for sure this is all real. And
I think that comes, and I'm gonna stand up for Bianca right there, Brent. I mean, I want you'll feel bad about this, but when you think about who they're acting coach is Corey Graves. I mean, that's all you need to know. And this is how he taught her how to act. I mean, he is a former Emmy nominated performer himself. And he's out teaching everybody else how, to act. And she probably got with him and he went through all the stuff and he taught her. And what probably needs to be done is said, let me help you sell this thing to the eyes, and gave her the Mo Howard eye poke. I think that would help her out.
Do they not know really how to sell anymore because they never felt the real pain of stuff? So they really don't know how to sell it?
I think that, we all know that we have to exaggerate stuff in the ring. You don't get a crowd reaction from short punches as much as you do if you reach way back up here and deliver one.
Exactly right.
But they have carried this to the extreme that anytime you're selling, you can't just sell and do the facials and, do the begging and whatever. You have to be flopping around like a fish and acting almost comical because they think that's the way people are going to react.
I think they need to say, listen, Joe, come here for a minute. Joe, no, come here, Joe. Joe, come here just for a second and throw something in his eyes and see how he reacts to it. They wouldn't react that way.
I think you're right, though.
Probably say, "Oh, what the?"
You're right. She should have just fell to the floor and rolled, just rolled out of the ring into the floor.
She did it.
It was a little overdone, and of course she's probably going to be with Cody in one of his movies, and of course Corey, the director. That's what my understanding is. Cody, when he was in Los Angeles for WrestleMania, he was out meeting with talent agencies.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is he might need to go and possibly get a talent transplant because I just don't see him starring in anything.
He won't star in no movies, I don't think. I don't think he has that ability.
Well, I just don't see it. I just don't see he has that kind of power. They let him go on and on and on.
Well, let's be honest. Hollywood don't put out movies for the common folk anymore.
This is true.
That is correct. I forgot about that. But
we already said
I do a sequel possibly to Dumbo. He could easily play him.
Did we already say hello to Rick Brooks?
We did.
All right. So here we're
anyway. Hi, Rick.
Michael Barr is with us. How you doing, Michael? Good to see you. The new season of Dark Side of the Ring starts tonight on Vice, and I believe it is about
Chris Candido.
Chris Candido, yes,
and Tammy. Prison Tammy. That girl's exactly where she deserves to be.
Yeah. Victor Nash, hello guys. Hope all is well. How you doing?
The legend.
Michael Barr. I think he said, "Is it true that Roman Reigns lost his title?" But you said he did not lose his title. Don Hester, Atlanta was very lucky to have Paul Jones settle down and promote here. Yes. The thing about Paul Jones, when you look at it, he starts in the 30s, being a promoter there. Promotes till 1978. Actually, he is in Atlanta and part of it until maybe 1979, because some point in 1980 he just disappears, and you never see him again. And I don't think he was sick because he didn't die until years later. So I don't know what happened that he didn't want him. Maybe Jim Barnett didn't want him there.
Probably had enough of Ole. Who knows?
He could have had, yeah. This is true. A lot of people have. Victor Nash, it was double or nothing. I guess that was a favorite.
And in most cases, I think the people took to nothing.
Yeah, I think they lost that bet.
Voice going through change apparently too. Excuse me.
Rick Brooks, I didn't even know of Georgia Wrestling until they started running cards in Cincinnati in August of 1982. Georgia Championship Wrestling, very long time. We don't know exactly when they were actually beginning to be called Georgia Championship Wrestling, but I'm pretty sure Ray Gunkel was there by the time Ray Gunkel got there.
Well, honestly, Rick, it was not till the mid '70s that I knew other places existed. Like we had here, and that was when I started buying the wrestling magazines, and I realized there was a whole world, literally the whole world of wrestling out there.
Kevin Penley, can you tell me something about Brickhouse Brown? I love Brickhouse Brown. What a nice guy he was.
Yeah.
Tremendous guy, and do whatever you ask him to do.
Yep.
I don't know that he ever wrestled in Georgia.
I don't think he did. I remember him working in Texas. I know he worked for Jarrett, and I know he was in. He did come to Continental. He did. He was there for a while.
Yeah, he teamed with Norville, didn't he?
I think so. That's right.
Brickhouse Brown was just he was a guy that you would tell him what you wanted. Okay.
Tremendous shape and one of the best drop kicks you can.
Beautiful drop kicks.
Beautiful drop. Yeah, just absolutely awesome.
For some reason, when he was in Mid-South Wrestling, I think they could have got him over. He was the better worker of Master G. He could work circles around Master G. He could work circles around the Snowman, but never really gave him a push. They're going to put him and Brad Armstrong together, which would have been great if they would have pushed him, but they didn't. They were mid-level wrestlers. That's all they wanted to push them as, but I think they could have drew money with them because both of them could work. And Brickhouse Brown was he didn't do a bad interview.
I think they try to, and Brickhouse was not in the vein of a Junkyard Dog or even a Betrayed. He was still a tremendous talent, but the way they tried to produce him in Mid-South wasn't going to work, I don't think, because he didn't have the size of Reed or the Junkyard Dog. That's my opinion.
Boy, him and Buddy Landell had some good matches.
They did, and it was getting over.
Yeah.
He was getting over in the way that they were doing, and him and Landell would have been the perfect. They were perfect. They complement each other perfectly in that. But he and Reed was not going to. That and whole Rita. I did like it because they called him Outhouse Brown down there. It was fantastic.
Hey, he drop kicked one time in Mid-South Wrestling. He drop kicks Buddy Landell, and I believe he almost knocked him out because he absolutely knocked him. But it was so good matches. But hey, listen, Buddy Landell would beat you up in the ring. He didn't care. He'd hit you, and he didn't care if you hit him back.
I think they also missed the boat with Buddy Landell in Mid-South as well. Even though it's possible that he was not dependable and that caused the issue, but he was over. You have to admit he was over in Mid-South.
Tyrone Spivey said, "Where is Pac? He's a great talent." Jack, do you know where Pac is?
Honestly, I don't. I can't keep up with who's there and who's not with AEW. There's so many that are off injured. So I really don't know. I agree with you, though. I think Pac is great talent for today's product. Trying to think something else.
Hello from Southeast Alabama. Let's see. Tyrone said, "For me, the title match between Seth Rollins and AJ Styles didn't feel like a world championship."
No, it didn't, and it did not have that big card feel. And if it had been semi-main, you might have got me to believe it a little bit more. But when I saw them, I think they were second, third, something like that, and I'm thinking they're not even putting importance into this belt.
Well, that was one of the articles I read. They made sure that everybody knew this was a secondary title, and that's the way it came out.
Yeah. But can you put a world heavyweight title on a man that had been beat by everyone? I mean, Seth Rollins went through a time that he got beat by everybody there.
5 years since he's held the championship.
And that's sad, and then you put the title on. They should have put the title on someone who has been winning matches up to that point. I think Seth got beat by Cody Rhodes at some point. I don't know who else he got beat by. I think the guy at ringside that was in the Spider-Man outfit, he came in and beat him. So there was so many people that came in and beat him. I mean, what do y'all think? I mean, should you put the title on somebody that's been winning, not just somebody that's been losing matches
I know they have been building him back up, but and I like Seth Rollins, but he doesn't. I don't think he needs a world championship, and I don't think he helps the world championship. Uh, Not the one he has, because let's be honest, until they take one of those titles away from Roman or both, whatever, and go back to a world champion basically on each show, this world championship really doesn't have any meaning.
They should have called it some other the North American. Well, they already have a North American champion, don't they?
Well, in NXT, yeah.
Carl Smith is with us. Hello from the Mid-South. Charles Alford. I like how Asuka kept going back to Bel Air Arm during the match. I didn't see the match.
It was a good match. And even though Asuka used the ponytail quite a bit, she used it in different ways, than you would normally look. And it looked stiff. Whether it was or not, I don't know. But Asuka is, she's one of those workers that would have survived back in our day. She would have been a great performer.
To me, Bel Air is a tremendous wrestler.
She is.
She's in shape. She looks like an athlete. Could draw some money with her. They just need to repackage her in a because she is over.
Yeah.
From what I see now, I have not seen her. I don't see a lot of them. I just watch bits and pieces. So, I mean, how is Keith Lee doing in the AEW? Richard Hood.
And I like Keith Lee, but all he's done for seems like 60 years now, however long he's been there, is work with that one guy, Swerve Strickland, and I just give up on any of those guys ever really getting what they deserve there. As long as the Mad Hatter or Hairpiece is in charge.
Michael Barr said, "When did I when did I get my interview?" Well, I'm going to tell you about the interviews. We've learned that nobody can come on here and it work out good. Too.
No, that we had. That if Nikita could have got on, he would have told some fantastic stories about Billy Graham, and because he was there, he was living it at the time, and he could have given us some great insights from a fan's point of view.
Kevin Penley asked, the reason I asked about Brickhouse Brown, I saw videos of British announcer. Yes, now that was not, if you've seen that was during, wouldn't that have been Russell Birmingham?
Yeah, I believe so.
That wasn't the Brickhouse Brown. Was he not part of Russell Birmingham? I don't really remember.
Yeah.
It's kind of blurred to me, but I'm pretty sure he was there at the time. Because did we not do an angle with him and the girls, Rodney?
I was at the circus the entire time. Russell Birmingham was going on.
I thought you went there one show.
I did. No, I didn't even make it. We went one show, and then after that, it was over. I went to one show, and it was over.
Jack, do you know when Brickhouse played football at Auburn University?
I don't remember that. I don't know if that was a legit or a work, as part of the character. I'm really not sure.
Let's see.
But I would have said Alabama if I was in Birmingham, though, because Auburn ain't getting over in Birmingham.
For only 22 people, that is a lot of money for Michael Barnes.
She doesn't. She just wanted to let everybody know she doesn't charge a lot of money to come wrestle.
Talking about somebody that just keeps on posting on our Facebook page is Mandy Rose. I don't know if she's doing it or someone else is doing it, but she continuously pushes her little VIP site on there, and I have to continuously delete her.
I'm just gonna have to go down there and talk to her.
I mean, that stuff is, and we've got all kinds of bots on there now. I've noticed. I got to go through there and get.
Is this on Facebook?
Yeah, on Facebook.
Oh my goodness.
Andy McDaniel, hello guys. Hope all of you are well. This past weekend was the 25th anniversary of the reunion in Charleston. So blessed to have your dad with us, and we certainly do appreciate. And you know what? You can go see some of that on YouTube. There's videos.
I'm backwards. How did I get flipped?
You've always been backwards. Me and Jack knew that for years.
Look at this. I've been flipped. How dare you? How did I get flipped?
I don't know, but I was
It's like
planning on flipping you when we got off the air.
This is a like I'm dyslexic or something. Come on now. This is
Hey, I won't say what Mako said. Mako said Bill Watts would be out of his mind, pink slip, and B slap on the way out. Yeah.
That's the truth.
Charles Offer said wrestlers need to be able to protect themselves, but they can't today. They're not trained to protect themselves. Listen, even our father was trained to protect himself in the ring. He knew how to protect himself, what to do when somebody would come in the ring. I don't know how many times he'd grab a hold of a guy and break their pinky. Just pull their pinky and break it.
he'd snap them.
Yeah, he done that.
He enjoyed a good spectator coming in the ring.
I will tell you, if that guy with a Spider-Man outfit would have came in the ring, Dad would have football kicked him before he got in there. And the only reason I say that, because he actually did that in Columbus, Georgia, at the TV station.
Yes, he did.
Truth is, the locker room would have emptied out and tried to save the guy from your dad.
He didn't care. He would hurt you when you got in the ring. So because he was taught how to do that. He came up in that time that this is how you protect yourself. And he was people like Jackie Fargo and Tojo and all those guys showed him how to do it. 70,000 plus the ones that came to Impact a week before Namiya got there for Nick Aldis debut.
That's good. I love Nick Aldis. I think he's a throwback, and I wish WWE would pick him up.
You never hit the like button for the love of bikinis.
My understanding is they're trying to get more of the younger wrestlers to the main brands as soon as possible.
Well, they need to.
Sure what that is. I'm not sure what that's like. What's caused that, but I would assume because most of them are injured or they want to do other things.
Oh, so somebody cowered away and rolled down the ring. I know that Rey Mysterio's son, what's his name? He does that.
Yes, and I noticed that the other guy. Oh shoot, another one with him. I noticed he did it in the match in the match too. Not that's terrible. But the other guy in the Judgment Day, not the tall one, but the other one. No, I can't.
The one from Ireland.
Yeah, the one with the terrible.
Yeah,
accent.
that one.
Yeah, him. Yeah, that one.
Hey, is that one guy way too small to be a wrestler?
I don't know. He's not any smaller than the majority of them.
Because man, he looked awful small.
No, can't be no more than that. Cameron Grimes, he looked really.
When they were standing next, the other guys, it was only, and they were going with Carlito and Savio Vega. Man, they all look small against both those guys. I mean, they look like little bitty dudes.
Finn Balor.
Yeah, Baco's for the save on that one. Finn Balor, that's right.
Robert Grice is with us. He says, "Hello, gentlemen." Evidently, he's targeting someone else. Let's see. Is Rodney an actor or an athlete?
You have never seen Rodney Flash West in the ring?
I can make my exit out of the ring faster than anybody that you ever seen.
Land speed record.
Michael Barr said, I was in a reality show a few times, but I was found I was not real, so I got to get off. It's beginning to look phony. That's something phony about all this. There's only two real things in this world, and that's roller derby and professional wrestling. There's a cage match on NXT tonight, Kevin said.
I'll be sure not to go watch that.
All right, here we go. Guys, you remember when the fans would sound off when punches were thrown? Yes, Richard, and they did do that in Puerto Rico.
Sure did.
They sure were. That was one of the best wrestling crowds I have seen them have.
And well, and that's because look who was doing it, Carlito and
Well, in
right?
Puerto Rico, those were actual wrestling fans. They were not entertainment fans.
Well, it's hard to get the punch when they're all doing these short forearm stuff that they're doing in every match now. They're not doing the big Hulk Hogan style drawback and where the people can go with them. It's just not done. And I don't, from what you were saying, they don't want it. They don't want it that done that way.
I'm not for sure what Mako means about this, but he said, and that tattoo.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
He's probably talking about Cody and that thing, that big gigantic.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh. Why did he get that?
Probably to cover up a scar.
Well, no, that
facelift.
is his brand. He has that trademarked, and he wanted to put it in a place that you could see it. Now, I don't know if they were aiming for the arm and just hit the neck. I don't know. But his wife was not happy about it when he come home, and he admitted here recently that it was way bigger than he thought it was going to be.
Michael Barr said Cody could be in a movie, call it Losers Can't Win. George is with us. George Lambert, is there any footage of the old promoter Paul Jones or promoter Fred Tommy Ward wrestling back in the day? I've only found one photograph of Paul Jones when he wrestled, and I've found no footage of it. And I've looked for it. I can't find it anywhere. You can find Joe Stetcher. You can find his matches that they taped years ago on the reel-to-reel stuff, like movie cameras. You can see that stuff. There's even a match where he wins the World Heavyweight Championship on there. You can find some stuff now. I've seen some crazy stuff where wrestlers were on the. Have you seen this? They're on these little platforms, and when they get tagged in, they get catapulted up.
That was in France. Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's another reason not to like the French. And when somebody called them out on it, they immediately surrendered. So.
All right, now what is this, people? Victor Nash says Gigi
Gigi.
Gigi. All right.
JC Jane. Yeah.
Who the crap is these people? I have no clue.
Now, I know Gigi. I worked with her I wasn't wrestling by that time, but I was involved with some shows where we had her. Extremely, extremely nice young lady. And I'm glad to see her success. But I don't know. I have just not been able to keep my interest in NXT for a good while.
I didn't even know who these people were. Richard Hood said Brickhouse Brown had a cup of coffee in Georgia. He wrestled Ray Candy.
Right. Richard, was that for Georgia Championship Wrestling, or was that one of the independent more type shows?
Or was that when Ole was running Championship Wrestling from Georgia?
Could be.
But now he would not have been Ray Candy then.
No.
He would have been Kareem Mohammed.
No, don't
Richard,
you ever call him Ray. Richard, don't you ever call him Ray.
Greatest thing I ever was seen on Championship Wrestling in Georgia. Michael Barr said another movie name, The Lost Causes. Michael Barr said, are there any wrestling buying heat these days? I don't know that they get heat anymore, do they?
Brock Lesnar. That's the only one. Because he don't care if his merchandise sells or not. He's getting those big checks regardless. So he goes out there and actually gets heat.
How many do they have? I don't know.
Well, Roman Reigns is still he still takes out both of those belts.
And then you have the Seth Rollins, and then you have NXT. I don't know of any other the women, but each one's that's SmackDown and Raw.
I don't even know that they call NXT a World Championship. They just refer to it as the NXT Championship.
Victor Nash. AEW put their world title match second to last on the pay-per-view instead of it being the main event.
Do you know why, Victor? It was because what's his name? What's their world champion's name?
MJF.
MJ said that there was no way that he was going to go out there and roll around in Ambrose, whatever his name is there now, I don't know. Moxley was not going to go out there and roll around in Moxley's blood.
I don't blame him.
He was not going to do it.
Yeah, they should change the mat if they want to do that kind of crap. Why does Moxley have every match have to have blood in it?
Lord, don't get me started. It's the stupidest thing I have ever seen in my life.
Hey so.
No, that's not. No, it's not. Hey, so.
What does it say?
Awesome.
Hasso, sorry. I held a baseball bat correctly during the game. Doesn't mean I should be applauded.
There you go. There you go, buddy.
That is correct.
Let's see. 7-6-2. BB didn't play college football. It was a work. All right. That's for sure. I was going to send Rodney a book for his collection, but he ignored me.
So what? I don't think so.
Well, now, if you tried to email him, if you tried to get in touch with him on Facebook, he don't have a Facebook page. If there's a Twitter page with him on it, that's not him. He has no way of getting in touch with him. No social media. So if you want to get in touch with him, just
I'm sorry.
Just get in touch with me, Kevin, and I can help you out there. But do this. Email me. Don't message me on the deal, because for some reason I don't always get the messages. If they feel like it says something within them that they don't want me to read, they don't get to me. So if they say anything disparaging or you use some kind of word that they think it's going to be mean, they do not share those messages with me for some reason. So email me, and I think my email, I think there's an email on the Facebook page, but Pro Wrestling Inside and Out at gmail.com. It's the best way to be able to get in touch with me, because I check that email every day, and no matter what, they send it to them. Mako, I heard Mandy had a thing for Jack big time.
Hey, fave that, Mako. I've got a girlfriend.
I can imagine it would be tough to read a book written in reverse there, right? Hey, in Japan, that's how you read them. You read them from the other side. Don't the books open from the other side now?
From the other side, from the top to the bottom.
That has to be that way for weeks. For weeks, it has to be that way. Ever since we came back over here, I had to have it. It had to be mirrored.
Victor Nash, Mako, all said Finn Balor, Cody, and Hollywood. And I believe that's going to be the downfall of Cody when people continuously hear that he's trying to get. He don't care nothing about wrestling. And that's why they started booing him when he was in. And if he does that too much, and during this time off, he ends up in a movie, they'll boo him when he gets back.
Yeah.
I mean, because he cried and belly ached. He went to AEW because they didn't use me right. And now he's went back over there, and if he does that there, he's going to kill it. He's just going to kill himself. And if I was WWE, I wouldn't let him do it. I like the old school stomp your feet and get mad as a fan. When punches looked real wrestling, it had more action to it. Yes.
You know, Bob Cook is sitting at home in Florida, and that was one of the best punchers in the business. And you'd think AEW would bring him in to teach those guys how to throw a punch.
Victor Nash asked this question. What's your thoughts on why haven't W called up Bron Breakker? Does it have something to do with his dad or his uncle?
I think it did have something to do with his dad getting kicked off that WrestleCon, whatever it was, the weekend of WrestleMania. So I think that has delayed them bringing him up. I believe he'll still come, just maybe later in the summer.
Kevin Penley said there's no Les Thatcher video neither. What's he talking about? What's Kevin Penley?
No,
Yeah, asking about video of them wrestling.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I would love to see Leslie. What happened to all the territory tapes from years ago? They taped over them.
Throw them in the garbage. Tape them. Yep.
nobody knew what the future was going to hold for that.
Richard Hood said it was when Ole was in charge. So, and then we'll hit this one, and then we'll get off here. If he did have a Facebook page, it would be flipped.
You're probably right.
I do have a Facebook page, but I never post on it. Very rarely do I ever post on it. Because I don't think people care if I what I did for the day. I don't think people care about it.
I did put my steaks up yesterday, a picture of my steaks,
Well,
and with my Haku T-shirt on. So
what stuff that I do put, I like to do it because I want to remember things, and I believe that if you do put your stuff on your Facebook page, I think it's very important so you can go back 10 years from now and see exactly what you did and what you were doing 10 years. I think that's important to know. I didn't when I was 20 years old. I didn't care about what I was going to go in 30. But at 52, at 62, I'd like to go back and see what I had done. I think that's the important thing of Facebook. Jack, anything we need to talk to people before we leave?
I think we've pretty well covered it. Appreciate y'all being with us tonight.
Rodney?
I want, if you get a chance, I want you to look up international wrestling, all the insiders and all you, to look up international wrestling. There's a fabulous match with the Garvins. I'm talking about Jimmy and Ronnie Garvin against Jacques Rougeau and Raymond Rougeau. The father, Jacques Rougeau Sr., is also involved. It is Precious is there. It is an awesome match. There is heat galore. The Garvins and Ronnie, it was like the old Garvins where Ronnie Garvin was the mean one, and he sprayed Jacques Rougeau in the face with a Precious spray, and then they proceeded just to wipe out the entire Rougeau family. It was a great thing to see, and I'll tell you, they had some great matches with the Garvins against Jacques Rougeau and Raymond. Just a fantastic match, and then of course it culminated with a loser leave match between the Garvins against the Rougeaus. Tremendous wrestlers. Jacques, and I don't think that where he was at in Southeastern or in Georgia really showed his true talent. The man was a tremendous talent, and if you ever want to see a match of just showing what Jacques could do, check it out with Abdullah the Butcher. Abdullah just destroys Jacques to the point where when Jacques makes a comeback on Abdullah, Joe LeDuc comes to the ring, pushes Jacques off the second rope, and then chairs start to fly because as Joe LeDuc and Abdullah start to do a number on Jacques. Chairs start to fly. It really shows the tremendous talent. And then the match following up Abdullah and Jacques with Raymond in his corner was just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So check that out.
Jacques Rougeau does not get the credit he deserves. Jerry Stubbs does not get the credit he deserves of being one of the greats in professional wrestling.
I also caught I don't know how when it was posted, but I also got, it's not very long. It's a match from Georgia Championship Wrestling 1978. Diamond Lil is on in a match. Harley Race, Dusty Rose against Ken Dillinger, and I think there's another one with Tommy Rich. Just tremendous. And Mako said he was there for the Garvins versus the Rougeaus in Montreal. This was, and I was talking after the show last week to Brian Young. He said Montreal was on fire, absolutely on fire. Everybody wanted to work the show, and it looked like the who's who of wrestling came through there. Mako said he was in the third row for the loser leave town match between the Garvins and Diamond Lil. Britt won't let me say what kind of wrestler she is. She's a little person.
She's a little person.
Tremendous match on TV. It's Bobby Simmons is doing the referee on those matches as well.
I think I had just posted. Did I think Diamond? I posted a picture of Diamond Lil, didn't on our Facebook page? I'm pretty sure I did. I post so much, and they're posted a month in advance. Sometimes I forget who's being posted at the time, but tremendous. They could draw so much money when you would bring the little people to the shows. Tremendous, and I think even to this day, I think Bobby Fulton maybe he is promoting some little people matches. Is he not?
I'm not sure.
I think I saw that online. Bobby Fulton, tremendous wrestler, tremendous guy, and so if you see one of his shows, go out there and support. All right, folks, thank you so much for being a part of Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. 58,000 followers now, plus on our Facebook page. Thank you so much. We pretty well we slowed down a little bit, and then we picked up. And this week alone, 800 people joined the Insiders, and we certainly do appreciate you doing so. Get over there to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to it. It is picking up as well, not as fast. We picked up over 200 people this month alone on YouTube because you are sharing it. Thank you so much, and we'll see everyone next week right here on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. And maybe that week, Rodney, we just won't talk about Cody, and then we might be.
Well, I mean, I think it's important. I think it's important to talk about Cody. Cody needs to be talked about.
Is he the modern day Kevin Sullivan to you? That's the question.
No, he is not. He hasn't reached that level of Kevin Sullivan as of yet. The interviews are pretty close that he does. They seem to give him a tremendous amount of time. I would limit him to 2 minutes. And if you can't get what you say in 2 minutes, I'm sorry, we'll just have to cut you off. Richard was asking about when Abdullah chased Mark Lewin back to the dressing room. I remember that. That is still on. That you can get that video. It's on YouTube. When they had the contract signing with the Assassins and Abdullah Mark Lewin, that's in that video.
All right, folks, we will see everybody next week, and maybe we'll even have the Tree of Woe right here.
Whoa!
Listening to Cody talk is like the Tree of Woe.